This cannot be happening. As much as I've come to know Jerry Jones, and I like him, as much of a pleasure as it was for me to meet Stephen Jones during Super Bowl week, as much as I genuinely like them as people, and I like some of the players, I'll be damned if I'm going to root for happiness for the Dallas Cowboy fans. And news has just come down that Jason Witten, who played for the Dallas Cowboys all of these years from 2003 to 2017, who retired to become a broadcaster on Monday Night Football for ESPN, that same Jason Witten has decided to come out of retirement and return to the Dallas Cowboys. This cannot be happening to me. This cannot be happening. I like Jason Witten. He was on this show every week. Incredibly nice guy. Damn good analyst. But Jason Witten being in the booth for Monday Night Football, I mean, this is where he belongs. He didn't belong back on that Dallas Cowboys team. I don't need him helping them. They actually got a tight end again. This cannot be happening to me. I just cannot believe this. I can't believe this. Oh, I want to cry. The Dallas Cowboys actually going to have an additional weapon to go with Ezekiel Elliott, with Dak Prescott, with Amari Cooper. How long? Oh, damn it. Damn down. Oh. This is not a good move for a Dallas Cowboy fan hater like me. It really, really isn't. Because Jason Witten, that same man, with 1,152 receptions for his career, 12,448 yards for his career, is only going to add to it. He's definitely going to the Hall of Fame. And for some reason, no matter how slow he looked like a damn snail with arthritis, and snails don't get arthritis. Somehow, some way, he was always open. Chad Ochocinco loves to talk. You sit up there and say, "What's up, Chad?" He says, "Always open. I'm still open." No, that's Jason Witten. He's the one that somehow, some way is always open. And now he's coming out of retirement to go back on the field for the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, my Lord, this is not news I wanted to hear. Because I think this exponentially elevates the Dallas Cowboys' chances to win. Because that defense is big time. I think Jason Witten departed from ESPN and Monday Night Football because he senses that the Dallas Cowboys, I don't want to choke on myself. I don't want anybody to faint when they hear these words come out of my mouth. But the Dallas Cowboys, if Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, and Jason Witten can get some kind of a passing game going, I got news for y'all. The Dallas Cowboys are legitimate top 4 Super Bowl contenders, John. I can't deny it. I can't deny it.
Oh, boy.
That damn Jerry and Stephen Jones. How did they pull this off? How did they convince Jason Witten to come out of retirement? How did they convince him to do this? I'm sick. They actually invited me down so they could treat me to a beer. I might actually show up and get a drink, JC. I might actually show up and get a drink with them. I can't believe they pulled this off.
Steven,
I just can't believe it. Nevertheless, they have. And as a result, the Dallas Cowboys, I'm here to tell y'all right now, is going to be a top 4. A top 4 contender for the Super Bowl next year. Then again, there is a silver lining in all of this. They can rise to the occasion, only to plummet at the most inopportune time. They could tease the Dallas Cowboy fans only to make them miserable when they all says that. I mean, there is a silver lining. Dallas Cowboy fans, there is a shot that you could end up more miserable than ever. That is possible. We'll move on. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. What do y'all think Jason Witten his return turns the Dallas Cowboys into for next season? Yes, I will allow your phone calls from the nauseating, disgusting fan base, the most nauseating, disgusting fan base in history, in American history. I will allow you to call into this show and stick out your chest and annoy the living hell out of me like only y'all can. I will allow it. Because Jason Witten's return, I think, means that much to this football team.
All right. Well, hello, friends. Mark Hobbs here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this does not work. Let's get open for business here tonight because it's time to get back to work. Woo! I'm wearing my hard hat in honor of one Jason Witten, Tony Romo, that have actually signed this hard hat. Terrence Newman's on the other side, but I'm thinking about trying to get that off, although he did play a lot of seasons. But it is time for the Dallas Cowboys to put that hard hat on, strap it on, and get ready for the season. And word is that they were meeting today with the reps from Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, Byron Jones, and DeMarcus Lawrence they were having dinner with tonight. Because I'm going to tell you why the urgency to do these things right now is because this team is all in. But before we get into all that, you got to wonder why Jason Witten decided to come back. I mean, we know he was doing Monday Night Football. He was getting paid pretty good. But I got to tell you, Jason Witten, we met him 2007. Great guy. You know, he had hundreds of kids there. His whole family, including his wife and their newborn baby, his dad, everybody, all were part of giving back. He played in one of the best tight ends. Not going to call in just right. We might do some before the end of the night, but not right now. The only thing he had left to do on the football field was to get a ring. And I believe with Scott Linehan leaving, that he thought that maybe this is what it was.
Well, me and the Lord, we got an understanding. We're on a mission from God.
I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe Jason Witten thinks that this was a sign that Scott Linehan was going to be released. I know some people died faster when Witten was blocking and failing to. I'm sorry, but I know some dead people faster than Witten in his block. But you know what? Here's the thing, though, Aussie. He still caught 65 passes in what was a very bad year for our offense. Let me say that again. He got 65 passes in what was a Dak Prescott down year, the sophomore slump, without Zeke Elliott for 6 games. I'm not saying that he's going to end up being like he was 10 years ago, but if we can get anything more than what we got, because understand this, listen, we got 5 TDs for the tight end position all season. 5. 3 of those were all against the Giants. So for 15 games, we got 2 touchdowns from the tight ends. If you take off that Giant game, the production we got from tight end wasn't a whole lot. And see, here's the thing that's different, because I'm going to tell you, they screwed up with Rico Gathers because they just basically said you're a blocker. And pretty much once he's out there, what's up, Edwin? Once he's out there, they were pretty much, the chances are they weren't going to pass to him. It's a run and play. But Jason Witten, as slow as he is, I will dare say he's still a better blocker than most. He's also had a year to let that body rest up, heal, and go in there for a run. And at $3.5 million, it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk. Are you telling me that you would rather go ahead and keep the guys that we have? Golf Swam instead of Jason Witten? Golf Swam or Jason Witten? Who you want to keep? Is there a question there? Rico or Jason Witten? Who you want to keep? Who do you want to have out there playing? Which one? Because basically that's what we're talking about. And see, here's what you guys don't seem to get is because I know he's slow, but speed was never part of his game. As slow as he is, he always still seems to find a way to get open, and he catches the ball. He doesn't tip the ball up and it's picked. He catches the ball. How you doing, Miss Jackie? Deidre's got the shirt. She's going to be doing some signing and stuff. It's Mardi Gras down in New Orleans. It's going to get crazy. Then it's coming to you next. I'll let you know which day it's coming, and I appreciate that. How you doing, Stephanie? I see Dante. I see Amanda 21. I see Denise. I see Bobby. I see Lawrence. I see Marino. I see Aussie. I see Cold Milk 72. Mike Flowers. Lawrence. Is that Lucky Lawrence? Cleveland Brown. How you doing, Cleveland? Okay, so and believe me, right there, I got the biggest Rico Gather supporter right there. He's got a Rico jersey. Get that. But listen, I'll take Jason Witten in the mix because as long as it's not going to be Jason Witten, you're out there every single play. But understand this. Just dream with me for a minute, because we're out of the dark ages now of Scott Linehan. Okay. That was the dark ages. Hopefully, Kellen Moore will give us some more offense, and we'll open up the playbook some. Because just imagine this, okay? Suppose we go into 2 tight end set, okay? You got Dalton Schultz on one side, Jason Witten on the other. You got Amari Cooper. You got Michael Gallup. And, of course, Zeke Elliott back there. You see how many options and combinations you can get right there? You can run the football because you got the 2 tight end sets, right? But you can also fake the dive. Here's what you do. Fake the dive, get all the motion with 8 men in the box, right? You following me? Have Michael Gallup on a go route deep, get Amari Cooper going on a slant, and you can have Jason Witten just kind of slow roll his way out there. And Dak Prescott rolls outside. It's too much to cover. You don't need Jason Witten to be the deep threat. You need him to be the outlet guy, the security blanket when there's a blitz to go to. A sure-man in hand. I'll take 6, 7, 8 yards from Jason Witten instead of a sack any day. You swear that some of these Rico fans are bigger than Cowboy fans. Some of them are almost Romo-esque fans. And think about, you know what? Let's go to Jerry Jones here real quick. I've got a bunch of clips of things. Hopefully I got the sound right tonight. I hope we got it right tonight. I've done some new stuff in the cave here, and we're working on doing some things. So hopefully I've got it right tonight.
That was when you knew Jason Witten was serious about returning to football.
Well, we had some early talks, Super Bowl time talks, and a little time before then. I have to go back to when Jason made the decision to not play football. And that was such a tough decision. I must really say he never totally bought into the idea of never playing again. He always knew that, boy, if not now, then maybe never more, and probably never more as a player. So his initial decision to go to the broadcast booth was a tough one for him and Michelle, his wife. So it was not surprising at all when he came in and he said, I want to play. I want to be, quote, back in the dirt. I don't think I've ever met a player that really wants to do the hard physical things, not take the easy way out that Jason Garrett wants to do, that makes a football player. That's what he's about, and that's what he misses the most.
So can we call Jason Witten a coach in waiting?
Well, I think you can, because he's obviously, and by the way, that's always been there, and it's always his style has been there. He is John Wayne, and he's John Wayne in our dressing room. He's John Wayne on the one-on-one drills in the end zone in the dark, rough days of two-a-days. So he's the real deal. And I like that for football. I like to think about that's what's going to be here in the future, whether it's on the field or coaching.
Yeah, Jerry, you have a real good football team. I mean, you have the 5 most important positions on your roster really taken care of. You have a quarterback. You have a pass rusher. You have a number 1 wideout. You have a corner. You have a left tackle. And you have young players, and they're on the rise, and you guys are knocking on the door now in the NFC. What do you want Jason to bring as far as you talk about that John Wayne? What do you want him to teach these young guys to get them to where you've already been, which is to the promised land, to the Super Bowl? How do you see him kind of helping those guys in that way, even more so than what he will do on the football field?
After a tough loss, we had a player that was going back and forth in the dressing room talking about how we weren't winners. We couldn't get it done when the time took. And Jason was sitting over there with his head down and so mad that we had lost. And he said, "That's enough. We've all heard that. Sit down." And the player made one more trip down the dressing room. When he turned, Witten had him by the shoulder pads, shook him like a limp doll, and said, "You hadn't been here long enough to earn this shit, but in the middle of all of this dressing room."
I like it.
Listen, you've won 3 Super Bowls as an owner. You own the Dallas Cowboys. You have the stadium that everybody's envious of. You're a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But the urgency to win a Super Bowl, because it's been so long since you won the last one, on a scale of 1 to 10, I know you're going to tell me 10, but
yeah.
and I've heard you talk about your own mortality, but is there a different urgency at this time in your life?
Well, that's an unfair question from you, Chris, because you've been with me from almost the first day I got into the NFL. And I go back to that because I had a little money when I bought the Cowboys, and I gave it all up to get to be involved in football. And I didn't give it up to make more money. I'm not here to make money. The money that I make goes back into the stadium and the football team and that type of thing. I'm not here but for one reason, and it's escaped me for all of these years, is to win another Super Bowl. And I've said this tongue-in-cheek, I'd be embarrassed to tell you if it would get it done, the size check that I might write to get a Super Bowl, but it just doesn't work that way.
Well, speaking of money, dollars, I want to mention some names. DeMarcus Lawrence, you're supposed to meet, or Steven or somebody is supposed to meet with his agent tomorrow, correct?
Right. We'll have our team meeting with him. Plus,
you only paid him $17.1 million last year, by the way. Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Amari Cooper, Bryon Jones. These are guys that are all going to be expecting a pretty good-sized paycheck over this year or next year. Are you ready to spend it? Can you spend it with the salary cap and all the players you want under your roster?
Yeah, you must have been looking over my shoulder this morning. Right as I got up, I had those same names, and I was adding it up. I could have just taken what I wrote down right before I went to bed, or my noon soup list that I'm making noon. I've got it on my mind. We'll figure it out.
You've got it on your mind, Cowboys fans.
Everybody's talking about Dak Prescott. What is Jerry Jones going to pay Dak Prescott? What do you feel about Dak Prescott relative to the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFL? What do you feel about Dak Prescott? Where do you think he still needs to go to help you get back to where you said you would write that check you'd be embarrassed about if you could get another Super Bowl? What do you think he needs to do for you?
If we were sitting here this afternoon and tomorrow, and he was out on that field getting ready to go in the draft as a quarterback, and I had the #1 pick, that's who'd get that pick in this draft. So that's what I think we're looking at, except we've had 3 years of really getting to know him.
Yeah.
We're a fortunate franchise to have Dak Prescott, and we're going to build around him for the future.
What is it? What is it, Jerry, that makes him that for you and this organization makes him the right guy?
The upside, his willingness to basically every drill improve, how he carries what he's coached up in a meeting, how he carries it to the practice field, and then how he executes it on the field. The thing that we do better, I think, almost than anybody, and I can say it, and then we know it's an opinion, is the 2-minute drill. And we work at it. We'll look at Dak Prescott in the 2-minute drills. Go back and look at all of our 2-minute times since he's been a quarterback in the Dallas Cowboys. He's had repetition after repetition, practice that. We just got to get him a lot of reps and comebacks. We've got to get him a lot of reps in bunches. We've got to get him a lot of reps going to town. And for a 3-year quarterback, he's had a lot of snaps and a lot of wins.
But I wanted to know.
All right, so that is our fearless leader there talking. Daha. He talks about John Wayne. You know, I got some great fans that are out there. I've got so many people that I can't even name everybody that's helped me. In bringing up John Wayne, Joseph Hartley, I haven't seen him in the chats tonight. He actually sent me this movie prop pistol. They're actually doing research on it, but supposedly John Wayne actually used this in a movie. So, yeah, that's high praise for Jason Witten. But I'm telling you, he can make that kind of difference. And what I keep saying that is lost on people, you've got a young team. And that is incredible that you have young guys that have as much experience as they do. You want that. You love that. You need that. But you also have to have a mixture in there of some guys that can kind of settle those young pups down. You know, if you've ever seen the movie Colors, okay? This is beyond PG-13, this joke or this comment here, okay? So if you don't want to hear cuss words, plug your ears. But there's 2 bulls that are up on top of this hill. There's a young bull, and then there's an old bull. The young bull looks down, and he sees all the cows, all the heifers down there. He said, hey, let's run down there and fuck one of those heifers. The old bull says, no, son. Let's walk down there and get them all. And that's what I'm talking about, having a veteran presence. Because you can teach and educate the subtleties that are out there. When you're young, you're going 1,000 miles an hour and you're out of control. When you get older, you don't have the same speed that you used to have. But that's when you rely on technique, precision, and knowing what's going to happen, knowing what's expected. When you're young, you don't have that. That's where, and I've said this even before, I had no clue. Anybody who had a clue that Jason Witten was going to come back, you know, before he came back, you got a crystal ball. But I was talking about Travis Frederick being there on the sidelines, how big that was for that offensive line, how big that was for Joe Looney. He's the field general. He's passing the knowledge on to those guys. Sean Lee being on the sidelines there with Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch. Those 2 guys, they only got 3 years experience between them. Sean Lee in there, calming them down, telling them what's going on in real time and real space, like an extra coach. When you look at Dak Prescott, his rookie year, having Mark Sanchez and having Tony Romo there as 2 veterans that were seeing stuff as well in his ear, you kind of miss that second year because there was nobody really there. You know, I mean, let's be honest. So when you look at having him, it's not just the fact that he has sure hands. He's not fast. He's not as strong as he used to be. But I'm telling you, that's a positive, especially at $3.5 million. So right now, here's my thoughts with the Dallas Cowboys. And let me pull this on up. My thoughts is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys are meeting with DeMarcus Lawrence, because they've got to get his deal done by the 6th, or else they have to franchise tag him. And they're trying to just get this thing done before that so they don't have to. So should we keep Sean Lee? Kathy, I'm hoping that we can keep Sean Lee and that they can come to agreement and say, look, Sean, this is what I hope happens. I hate to go to a player and say, take a pay cut. They did that to Doug Free because Doug Free, well, he was letting everybody free. But if you go to Sean Lee and say, look, Sean, you've been fantastic with this team. We love you. We want you back. But here's the rationale. I need some of that $10 million right there. I need some of that to help you get that Super Bowl ring. We need a little extra help. We need some more players. And we want you back because we know how important you are. But we need everybody kind of put into the pan here. Put into the complexion plate. Because the reality is, you cut him, we get $7 million, which is great. But we're leaving 3 on the table. 3.5 got you Jason Witten. But if you go to Sean Lee and say, hey, take 5 this year. Take 5. We can take that 5 and we can put it towards getting another playmaker in here. We need your help to do that. You know, we want to bring back Cole Beasley, so we need some of that money. We want to try and get Earl Thomas, but not at $13.5 million. Let's be straight here, not at $13.5 million. But you see where I'm going there with Sean Lee, because you want that veteran presence. You want him to be able to be there and transition to maybe a coach. That's what you do with Sean Lee, at least in my mind. But here's my thinking with why they're meeting with Dak's people today, why they're meeting with Amari Cooper's people today, why they're meeting with Byron Jones and DeMarcus Lawrence, is they're trying to get these things done before free agency. Because here's what you do. Right now, because the cap numbers came in, the cap is $188 million. Boom. Went up actually $1 million more than they projected because they're just making money hand over fist. So we got almost $50 million, but that goes quick when you start doing these contracts. But you can work these contracts in ways that you can get some cap relief. Understand the sexy goat. Okay, all right. How about them Cowboys? Victor, how you doing tonight? I see Stephanie, Cash Money. How you doing, Cash Money? Franco, Riggs, Sarah. How you doing, Sarah? And Joe Lucas. But here's what you can do, and I've talked about this before, but see, look, you can take Amari Cooper, who right now today is a $13.9 million hit, right? You say, okay, we're going to sign you to a $70 million contract. Adam Scott, thank you very much for the super chat. You can go through, pay him about a $75 million contract, make him happy as pie, guarantee about $40 million of it, okay? What's up, E2 Blue? Guarantee about $40 million of it, spread it out over the 5 years of the contract, and turn around and say, we're only going to pay you $2 million this year. You're getting a check for $40 million plus 2 for the season, and you spread that out. So now all of a sudden, instead of having a $13.9 million hit, you only have about an $8 million hit. So you now created more cap room. That's why you go to Amari Cooper right now. Understand, when we did Zach Martin's deal last year, he had a $9 million cap hit before the deal. His cap number for last year was only 6. We created more space by doing that, by basically putting the money down the road. You can do that when it's a young guy that you believe is going to be here for a few. You don't want to do that with a guy that you think that he might not be here next year, because then you have a lot of dead money. That's the trade-off there. So you can do that. You can go to Zach Martin And you can go ahead and write him a check for $10 million and go ahead and prorate that as guaranteed money. And what you're going to do is you're going to create more cap space. You're putting the money down the road. It's kind of like a payday loan, just not quite as high interest on it, okay? And if you do want to get Cole Beasley, you can go ahead and you go down to Allen Hurns. You sign Cole Beasley. I don't think you're keeping Allen Hurns. $5 million, which is the money to pay Cole Beasley. See where I'm going with this right now? You can pay people, and the same thing with Dak Prescott. You can pay him $125 5-year deal, make $75 million of it guaranteed, okay, which is divided up over the 5 years, so that's $15 million a year in the guaranteed money. Turn around and say, we're going to pay you $2 million this year. You only got a $17 million hit. And that still leaves you with $33 million. And you can do the same thing with D-Law. You can do the same thing, you know, more guaranteed money, spread it out, drop him, get him basically, say, a $14, $15 million hit this year. So you can work these deals, and you can create some cap room to do that. And I believe, and I said this before, that there is a sense of urgency with the Dallas Cowboys to win right now. And that's why they're going through and trying to get these deals done right now to see how many dollars they got left to start spending. Is Dez still on the Saints? Dez is a free agent. And see, that's where, in talking, I talked earlier on the other channel about Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas wants to be the highest paid safety in football. At least that's what we're told. I didn't hear that from Earl Thomas. There's reports out there saying that he wants to be. Hell, I want to be the highest paid carpenter in the world. But reality says I'm not going to be. And it wasn't like he came out and said, if I'm not paid $13.5 million, I'm going to sit again. You haven't heard that, did you? Now, you demanded that last year, and what did it get you? For Seattle? He sat out all offseason. You didn't get your money. You got fined. You got injured because you weren't working out with the team. And you still didn't get that money. So, at some point, reality is going to have to sit in. And if you can get $13.5 million from somebody right now, by all means, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Oh, well, Sarah, yeah, actually, Sarah, I was doing great on the keto until Super Bowl came through and then the Girl Scout cookies. So I kind of bumped a little of that back up. Maybe I shouldn't use the side camera because then you can kind of see the pot belly again. But thank you very much. Let me see some of the comments. Yeah, Victor, you and me both would like to be the highest paid carpenter. But that's where he's going to have to, and understand too, it's negotiation. You don't come out and say, Jonathan McIver, thank you very much for the super chat. You don't come out and say, you know what, I'll give you a discount, man. I'll work for $5 million. You don't, who does that? Come on, who does that? Nobody goes out and does that. You start high and you work your way down. Cowboys are going to start low and they'll work their way up. That's just the way it is, man. Nobody is going to start and just say, yeah, man, I'm willing to give the Cowboys a discount. No, you're trying to get every nickel. You want to be here, but you want to be here for as much money as you can possibly get. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, I do sometimes take jobs that I know people can't really afford to do what they really want to do, and I'll cut them a break and stuff because hey, I really like them and stuff. You know, I want to help hook them up. But you still want to make money as much as you can that's reasonable. So I think he'll end up being a little more reasonable. The thing that I don't understand, and I've asked it a couple times, because by definition, you're not supposed to be talking to the other team's players or agents until the 11th of March. And the Cowboys somehow were able to go ahead and say, we talked to them at the Combine. Thomas Garrett, thank you very much for the super chat. Destination Miami, baby. Well, if Miami wants to pay him that much, by all, like I said, I ain't mad at him. Stephen A. is worried. Mark. You know what? I told you guys about Stephen A. I told you Stephen A. is a closet Dallas Cowboy fan. Stephen A. is famous and has more money because of his hatred, or excuse me, fake juice hatred of the Dallas Cowboys. That man don't hate the Cowboys. He don't hate them. Trust me. The way he was hugging up on Steven and Jerry, I was like, get a room, Stephen A. Get a room, man. He was kissing that ass all over the place and thanking his lucky stars for the Dallas Cowboys. Even when I went up to him and I said, I am one of those disguys, because I can understand. I can understand him saying, you know, Jerry and Steven, they're nice people, and they're, oh yeah, they're good. But those fans, I hate those delusional. I said to him directly, I am one of those stinking, delusional Dallas Cowboy fans that you despise. And I want to debate you. Mind if I take a picture with you? Sure. Yeah. Yeah, Stephen A. We got you. We got you. Super Bowl in Miami. You know, and that's why I think Jerry bought the, maybe that's the urgency, Thomas. Maybe that's the urgency to win now, is he wants to roll his boat right into Miami for the Super Bowl. And he wants to roll right on out with that Super Bowl trophy right on the front of the ship. Maybe that's the urgency, because I feel like this team is going to be all in. The fact that they're even talking about making moves in free agency when we haven't done jack crap in free agency since Greg Hardy. E.T. and the Big D. I'm dead serious, though. You're dead serious? I missed the comment. I apologize. I've got a lot of things that are going on. Leave a comment. Is everything running okay in here? Is sound okay? Have I messed up anything? Pictures okay? I know I've had like a little bit of a hiccup from time to time on the camera, where it kind of got all the lines and stuff and everything else, but hopefully everything's going good. I'm still learning the system here, but it's getting to be secondhand. Give me a few more times. I'll really be able to just do this like I'm Stevie Wonder blind and just know where the keyboards are. Pretty sure that's the super chat meant by Destination Miami. Oh, okay. He meant the Super Bowl. Oh, got you. Yeah, and you know, and oh man, Miami for the Super Bowl. Thank you. Some beach and some sand. Super Bowl shouldn't be any place but Florida, New Orleans, or California. The hell with these cold weather Super Bowls that are landlocked. The hell with it. The Detroits, the Indianapolises, the New Yorks, the Atlantas. Forget that stuff, man. Give me some warm weather and a beach and football, and I'm happy. E.T. to home. Well, E.T., hopefully E.T. will come on down a little bit so he can come on home, because that $13.5 million, that hurts. That hurts. Well, thank you, Miss Jackie. Mike Hunt, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate all the super chats that everybody's been throwing in here. I appreciate all of you just coming in here and everything else and supporting the channel. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Do you think Jason Witten coming back is a good idea or a bad idea? Do you think it's going to make a difference, or is it just going to be the same old Dallas Cowboys? And what we'll do here, let me plug in the phone. Hopefully I got this still. Oh, man. I would love to, Stephanie, I would love to keep the NFC East record perfect against the New England Patriots. I'm sick and tired of New England. You know, they just need to dismantle that team. I hate them. God, I hate them. Who do you think will go after a defensive end with the suspensions? You know, here's the thing. I'm almost wondering if they're not going to take a look around in free agency. Because what you may end up doing, because here's the thing, it's not just defensive end. you still need a defensive tackle as well. And there's guys out there like Sheldon Richardson who has had, he was in Seattle. He's been around quite a bit and has kind of, the luster's kind of come off of him. But see, Rod Marnelli, he is like the defensive line whisperer. He takes guys that nobody, and I mean nobody, thinks anything of, okay? When the Cowboys took David Irving, did anybody say, oh my God, David Irving, yes, we got that guy? Who? Now, unfortunately, David Irving couldn't get it right upstairs where he could stay on the field. But what he was able to develop that guy, Kansas City didn't develop him. He wasn't developed in college where he was a top pick. Rod Marnelli did. A guy like George Selvey, who was around for four different teams and had 3 sacks in 4 years. When we signed him, nobody said, oh my God, we got George Selvey. But George Selvey had a 7-sack season, I think it was. He ended up leaving and going to the Giants, getting paid. Didn't do anything after that, but Rod Marnelli took him. And you look at a guy like Antoine Woods, who started out on 4th string, working with Rod Marnelli. And the best thing the Dallas Cowboys did was bring in Chris Richard, because Chris Richard last year was already really the defensive coordinator. And it was Rod Marnelli who was there with all the big nasties up in there. Him being able to focus in on those guys made that defensive line that much better. So if you get a guy like, say, a Sheldon Richardson, he's kind of a big body that you can put there in the middle that's more of a run stopper, and you get him coached by Rod Marnelli, he's affordable. You put him in there, you may end up being able to get something. And see, ultimately, what I think the Cowboys are trying to do is if they can work out a deal with Earl Thomas. Because here's the thing. Now you've crossed off one of the needs that you had. Okay, boom. Okay, tight end, we're okay. We got enough guys there. Wide receiver, you want to try and get Cole Beasley back, but if you can't get Cole back, you're hoping that Allen Hurns will be okay. If you get Cole, Allen Hurns goes, you get some more money to work elsewhere. You still want another running back, but you don't need a running back in the 2nd round. If you can get maybe a decent, I'm not saying the bottom basement, a decent defensive lineman in there, and you get Earl Thomas, now when you go in the draft, you're looking at the 2nd round and saying, let's take the best player that can give us a little bit more wherever that position may be. It may end up being that an offensive tackle comes in there. It may end up being as a running back or another wide receiver or even a cornerback. But then you take the best player available that's there. And like I said, Beasley probably gone, but I'm telling you though, I think Beasley may be excited. Because here's the thing. You can see the incitement of the team right now since Scott Linehan's been fired. Cole Beasley he didn't need to respond at all, but he was kind of like, it's looking a little bit better over here now. We all heard about the offense and how bad. Everybody knew nobody liked the offense. And that's one of the reasons why I think Jason Witten came back. I think Jason Witten got tired of Scott Linehan thing too and probably looked at it, being in the booth isn't quite as much fun as being out there with my boys, with my teammates, my family. And sees that, they're not far away from maybe I can get that ring to ride off in the sunset with. Victor, you're all over the place. Victor always is. He literally is always all over the place. And Nicole Beasley may be gone. I mean, who knows? But sometimes you look and you say, is the grass greener on the other side? If all things are equal, do I want to go over someplace else and start all over or stay a place that I've been at for 4 years? That's where you kind of start looking at it. I think if DeMarco Murray had it to do over again, that he would probably look differently at going to Philadelphia for more money than staying in Dallas. Oh, well, thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that. What I may do, because I've gotten some people who are like Dallas Cowboy fans are like, man, when you going to talk about football? It's like, well, look, some people are interested. I actually have a third channel where I've got actually a lot of, it's called The Wood Boar, which is the name of my company. And I've basically got like cabinets and the red brick house and those things on there. What I may start doing is just live streaming work onto that channel. That way, if you're going to the channel, I'll be talking about the Cowboys because I'm always talking about the Cowboys, but it's more of the woodworking and stuff. I mean, technically, this channel was my cooking channel, but because YouTube got crazy and shut down my other one, then I was like, I gotta use this one. So it started growing, and YouTube started pushing this one out there, and the other one kind of started it was hard to get everything to get traction on that one again, although it's beginning to pick up. But at least I have a backup, so we'll continue to do more of that. Well, and again, you're right. I would have liked to have seen Rod Smith because I've seen him do some good things, and I have to agree with you on that. But for whatever reason, they just stuck with Zeke Elliott over and over and over again. But I think if you're going to make a run, you want to keep him as fresh as possible going into the playoffs. You want his presence out there, but you got to understand that every time that you keep these 30-plus carries a game, or touches, I should say, because it's passes in runs, that you're shortening his career and his window. You want to have him as explosive as possible. I'd rather take 25 more explosive plays than to kind of wear him out, putting 5 or 6 more on there. Actually, Joe, I built all of this stuff, the lockers and this. I'm making a bigger top. Because I got so much crap that's on here up in the shop. But yeah, pretty much everything you see at my house I build because, well, I'm broke. So I build my cabinets, my furniture, like the bookcases over there where the TV is. I built that like 15 years ago, my bar and all that. So yeah, I do a lot of that. Talk about old man Witten. Bryon, SoCal, thank you very much for the super chat. So the dynamic between Moore and Witten, how that's going to be? Okay, let's try. That sounded like God talking down. Well, that's going to be an interesting one because you're going to have Jason Witten, the elder statesman, with Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator. But I have a feeling. Cruise low with super chat. Thank you very much. With Jason, Dak can get rid of the ball instead of a sack. Exactly. Cruise low. That's exactly what I said. To me, I all season long, I kept saying this. Every time that Dak would take a sack where he was holding on to the ball too long, is like he's looking. It's like, where is that guy? It's like, where's Witten? Where's that guy to dump it off with? And he never showed up. Witten's going to be there. Witten's going to be there. And when you throw it to him, he will catch it. He's actually another red zone threat because he doesn't get that far down the field. He can get into, he'll find the seam, he'll find the soft spot, and he'll catch the ball. I'm excited about it. I couldn't be happier. You bet he'll go, you know what? I don't think so. I honestly believe that after the dark ages of Scott Linehan, and that's what I'm calling the dark ages, that they're going to be more receptive to change, and anything will be better than that. I love all the naysayers in here, Hairston. If I had $1 for everybody who said we weren't going to do, if I had $1 for every person that said that Dak Prescott was RG3 and that after that sophomore slump that he's going to be flipping burgers in 2 years, if I had $1 for every person that said that he's not going to do jack, I'd probably have my new streaming set right now. Seriously. Why is everybody so negative? Everything the Cowboys do, everybody's so negative. I want you to stop. Stop. We're actually gonna be thankful here. we're going to go to church right now. I know we have not won the Super Bowl since he was a little kid. Okay? I know that. I know I've seen the New York stinking Giants get 2 of them since then. I've seen the Eagles into win 1. I know the Arizona Cardinals in the Super Bowl didn't win it, but they were there. I've seen the Steelers get a couple more. I've seen the Rams get 2 and go to another, get 1 and go to 2 other ones. I've seen New Orleans, who used to be the original bag over the head team, get it. I get that. I know it hurts. It stings. It hurts every single time I have to go and see all these other teams there and not my Dallas Cowboys. I get that. But you know what? I look and see DeMarcus Lawrence, guy we drafted. I look and see a Tyron Smith, a Zach Martin, a Travis Frederick. I see a trade for Amari Cooper that everybody said was stupid, and him all of a sudden saving a season. I see a Zeke Elliott out there who's gotten the rushing champion twice in 3 years and would have had it a third year had the NFL not suspended him. I see a quarterback who we haven't paid $3 million end up being in the playoffs twice in 3 years and never have a losing season. I see a defensive coordinator in Chris Richard who is a leader of men that gets results everywhere he goes. I look at what he's done with a Bryon Jones, a guy that we thought was doo-doo, turn him into a shutdown corner. I look at all this talent. I look at the fact that we've had, 33 wins over the last 3 years? That's 11 wins a season average. The arrow is going up. You guys seem to forget those 8-8, 8-8, 8-8 years, or worse yet, those 5-11, 5-11, and 5-11s in a row. You guys seem to forget the Quincy Carters and the Drew Stantons, I think it was. Was it Drew Stantons? Or Drew Henson. Drew Henson. You forget about all of that bad crap that's out there. And then you guys have been beat down so much that everything is like, woe is me, I'm slept rock. We had a team that was in the toilet. I agree with you. 3-5. But that team turned it around. That team was playing some of the best football in the league going the second half of the season. Dak Prescott, I know people will say, well, he was 15th in the NFL, on the season. He's mediocre. Dookie Nomis, thank you very much for the super chat. Sorry, the comments kind of froze up there, so I missed that. Apologize. But if you take Dak being 29th in the NFL the first half of the season and he finished up at 15, then that means he had to be somewhere in the top 10 to skew those numbers back down there. You got to start believing at some point, because if you don't believe that something can happen, it won't. You want something to happen, you first have to believe it. And understand, the Dallas Cowboys, this is not the same Dallas Cowboys ownership that's been satisfied. This ownership is now, the bills are coming due. If you aren't part of the solution, you're part of the problem, and your ass is out of here. Jason Garrett, listen, we love you. You're family. We've given you opportunities. If you don't win this year, we got to replace you. That's the bottom line now. And they're backing it up by trying to bring in other talent. It may not succeed. It may. I don't know. Football is a crazy thing. And I've got actually all this stuff from DeMario from yesterday. And he was talking with the guy who was going to interview him backstage. And they were talking about how they were robbed because of that no call on the pass interference. And the way he said it was so eloquent, because he said what it takes to get to that point. He said between the off season and the OTAs, mini camps, the training camps, okay? Making it through the preseason and stuff and getting on a roll, getting the wins and things like that. He said it's almost like winning the lottery to even be in the position to make that run, which is the truth. There are so many things that have to line up to get into the Super Bowl. And as bad as it's been for us, you know, New England's been to like 9 of them over the last 15 years. It ain't like everybody in the AFC is all of a sudden in the Super Bowl and winning them and things. They're sucking over there too. You can look around. There's not a whole lot of teams that are there making that noise. It's hard. You need to be healthy. You need to get some breaks. You need to get some calls to go your way. You need the freaking ball just to bounce the right way into your hands as opposed to the next guy's hand. It is damn near impossible to do. But I can say that this team right now, more than a long time, instead of saying Jason Garrett, he's going to be coaching with us for a long time, son. His job's not on the line. Well, his job's on the line. Scott Linehan, your offense stinks. Get the hell out of here. You're gone. Mr. Ketchup Bottle, Alexander, your coaching technique stinks. Take your ketchup bottle and get the hell out of here. Dick Enormous, thank you very much for the super chat. So there's a new sheriff in town, and it's Stephen Jones, and he's going to make sure, excuse me, that Dick Enormous got me. Yeah. I see what you did there. So I'm happy that they're putting everything out there that this is, you've got to succeed to keep a job. Put everybody on notice. The players are always on notice. It's time that the coaching staff is as well. So we'll see. And let me say this much, which I've said many, many, many times before. Jason Garrett is a survivor. Every time you think you got Jason Garrett in the sights, Jason Garrett comes back around. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, play calling taken away, boom. Catch no catch away from the NFC Championship game. Next year, 4-12, on the hot seat, bam, Dak Prescott comes through. Last year, sophomore slump, maybe on the hot seat. 3-5, definitely on the hot seat. What happened? Team turned around, made the playoffs, won a game. And now, no contract extension. So guess what? We'll win the Super Bowl next year, and Jason Garrett will be here for another 10 years. You watch my words. I'm telling you, Jason Garrett is a survivor. The cat with 9 lives. Thomas, that is it exactly. He's the clapper and the cat with 9 lives. I'm still here crying. Yeah, you know, he got me. He got me. Yeah, I know he wanted me to say that. Yeah, it's probably some little kid out there who's giggling right now. Yeah, okay. The only reason the Dallas Cowboys won the NFC Championship 2 out of the last 3 years is Dak Prescott. Sarah, be careful when you say that. You might have to go on witness protection. You know, some people are going to go ahead and argue and tell you that Dak didn't have anything to do with it. No, Victor, I'm not letting you call in tonight. We got 1 minute left, man. Sorry, no calls tonight, man. There's so much other stuff going on and things. Okay, I apologize. Maybe we'll do them on Monday if no crazy stuff happens between now and then. Jason is clapping. Well, Jason better do more than just clapping, I tell you that. Richard Normus, thank you very much for the super chat. You see what I did there? Well, guys, hate to tell you, it's getting close to that time. And it amazes me how fast time goes when we're in here together, man. I can't believe it is freaking 9 o'clock. Any news, anything that breaks with the Cowboys? In fact, I got to check my phone as soon as I get off here and see, because the way stuff has been rolling through from here on out, you know there's going to be plenty of stuff to talk about with our Dallas Cowboys. DMV, there's my boy DMV. DMV, man, I'm working on the spot here. I need to get you back over here. I miss when you used to come over on Friday nights. I know your wife probably doesn't like that idea and stuff, but it was cool having you over here. And when we get the other set, I hope that we can kind of start doing stuff. Maybe we'll get some Sundays or Saturday evenings where we can go ahead and just start doing some roundtables of what's going on with the Cowboys and stuff. But as always, friends, I want to thank you all for being part of the Joe Booth Sports Report. And it is now time to turn off the lights.
The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.